efforts are being made to have a common national tribal policy in India. Still, it is in the making stage only. Further, I must thankful to you, sir, as a chairman of the High Power Empowered Committee. You have given a lot of recommendations to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs in the administration and development of the scheduled tribes in the country. And as a visiting professor of Institute of Human Development, New Delhi, you have given a lot of insights and advices to the Ministry of Tribal Affairs also. So, taking into consideration of your valuable suggestions, in future, we will try to go ahead all TRIs in the other states. We will work on these research areas and come out with the valuable policies for development of the tribal areas. Once again, thankful to you, sir, Professor Varjins Kaka Garu, for giving valuable message and recommendations for the development of the tribals in the country. Now, I request our Chief Guest, Honorable Deputy CM and Minister for Tribal Welfare, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Srimati Pushpa Srivani Madam, who is giving her valuable message through video, because she is participating in World Adivasi Day celebrations in another district. So she has sent the message through video. So our message will be telecasted now.
Pamala Pushpa Srivani Garu, respected Joint Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India, Navaljeet Kapoor, and the Director of Tribal Welfare, Ranjit Basha, the dignitaries of the dais, the Chief Organizer, Mr. Ravindra Babu, Lakshmi, and the participants, the Chief Coordinator, Dr. Srinivas Rao, Vice Chancellor, HC, Hyderabad Central University, Dr. BJ Rao, Professor Kaka, Virginius Kaka, and many participants who are participating virtually. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you for this national seminar on tribal issues. During the inaugural brief, Dr. Srinivas was briefing that on this very subject, they got around 300 odd research articles from 86 odd presenters. The importance of these research articles in framing the tribal policy and development programs, I believe, very, very crucial. And it was also documented around 86 articles in the form of 4 volumes of books, highlighting the initiatives of various governments across the country and the loopholes in their implementation, the gap for the developmental strategies to be taken up. I believe this is a great opportunity for all of us to analyze and visualize where we stand in terms of tribal development. As Professor Virginius was analyzing the things from different perspectives, and he broadly put the tribal development into 3 parallels: the 5th schedule areas, the 6th schedule areas, and those areas outside these 2, 5th and 6th schedules, and the necessity of having the uniform tribal policy across the country and the difficulties of having that. In this context, we have to analyze the very existence of tribal population in different pockets of the country and their cultural identity and population identity and the reach of those tribal communities from these policies. After 75 or 74 years of independence, still we are talking about tribal development and necessity of framing the specific programs for development of these tribes. As pointed out by the earlier speakers, majority of the programs are schemes we have so far implemented, mainly focusing on education, health, and livelihoods. As pointed out by, again, Zain or GS, there are many other aspects which still you have to explore, like environment, right to education, making it very compulsory in tribal areas, drinking water, remoteness and interior nature of the very tribal habitations, infrastructural needs, connectivity issues, all those things. So I believe, as rightly observed by Virginius, many issues are there even today in the context of tribal development which need to be focused. During the introductory remarks, Dr. Srinivas was observing that around 86 articles were documented. I have gone through a few of them. Majorly, all these articles, they revolved around, again, education, health, and livelihoods. I believe this education and health, they are the primary objectives of any governance to empower the tribal populations. So when it comes to, I believe Srinivas also remarked on the introduction of English medium as medium of instruction in these tribal areas by Government of Andhra Pradesh. It's a big debate because some of the authors were arguing that for tribal people, we should have education, the primary education, at least in the mother tongue. We have certain groups within the tribes which were categorized as primarily vulnerable tribal groups. When Ravindra Babu was telling around 86 odd tribes are there in the entire country, identifying these certain tribes as primarily vulnerable itself is a great, what I can say, research, outcome, where we can focus our strategies and programs for upliftment of these most vulnerable sections within this tribal community. As pointed out, I believe having the district autonomous councils parallel to 5th schedule is a big debatable issue in 6th schedule as well as outside the 5th and 6th schedule areas. As pointed out by earlier speakers, the executive authority vested in the name of governor, how far we are reaching the tribals in specific issues. So coming to Andhra Pradesh, in the recent years we have been implementing this Navaratnalu and other issues. Apart from these 9 welfare schemes, flagship welfare schemes of the Government of Andhra Pradesh, specifically for welfare of the tribals, the government shouldered the responsibility of recognizing these forest rights for all the eligible tribes in the scheduled area, and we conferred close to an extent of 2 lakh acres in the second phase of the RYF for recognition of forest rights. Totally, I believe, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, both the phases put together, 3.84 lakh acres of area extent has been handed over to the scheduled tribes to eke out their livelihoods. Honorable Chief Minister Sri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy garu, apart from regularizing, apart from conferring these forest rights to these eligible scheduled tribe families, has also directed the department to take up the development of these, all-round development of these lands, duly dovetailing with NG and REGS. The Department of Tribal Welfare Andhra Pradesh is closely coordinating with Rural Development Department to own this activity and hand over fully developed agriculture lands, fully developed lands to these eligible tribes who have been doing it. Likewise, in this era of technology, as I said earlier, we have implemented flagship welfare programs, Amma Vadi, Vidya Devana, Vastu Devana, all those things are Raitu Bharosa. So we found that though we have implemented these schemes, there are certain pockets in the forest, tribal jurisdiction, tribal department jurisdiction, where the reach of these programs is not complete. There are certain households in these areas, remote and interior areas, which got excluded because of this technology. So we have seen that all of the welfare programs are based on Aadhaar-based direct benefit transfer schemes. We found that in these tribal pockets, because of connectivity issues, majority of our tribal children, they went without Aadhaar. There were households without Aadhaar. Here, we took the initiative, we took the help of Ajin Premji's philanthropic initiatives, and we conducted a pilot survey, pilot study on reach of these welfare programs in our tribal areas. We have taken a special study on these things, and we found certain households which are missing this benefit. Then we coordinated with their respective departments, whether it is IT, our school education department, our agriculture department, and we succeeded in making these households, tribal households, included on that particular benefit. Likewise, with the support of API, the Department of Tribal Welfare, actively pursuing to minimize these exclusions to the extent possible. Probably in days to come, when we say around 27 lakh tribal people are living in Andhra Pradesh, our endeavor is to include or cover every eligible tribal family with all the government programs which are being implemented actively by the government of Andhra Pradesh. Why I narrated this initiative? When we are talking about policy, there might be a number of policies which assist the tribals or help the tribals for emancipation. But if that particular policy, however it is implemented, if it has certain issues where the tribal family cannot access that benefit, it goes unrecognized unless we have certain specific study. So these issues, when Srinivas was mentioning about English medium instruction, Nadu Nedu scheme implementation, phase 5 of education programs, what I can say, all these things. So we have to, I believe, as a research scholar, you have to analyze the reach of these programs to these areas, especially tribal households, and the impact of these developmental initiatives on that particular household. Have they really come out of this poverty, the clutches of poverty? If not, where we went wrong? How we can reorient our policy initiative? What are the other issues we can dovetail with our programming or scheming? As we initially, started off, that there are certain specificities within our tribal populations. In the context of this globalization, how are we integrating these various specific issues which are specific to that area, that tribe, rather that particular state? How are we integrating, how are we visualizing these differences existing within the tribal community? How best we can evolve a national policy for the general benefit of all the tribes. Probably here, the implementation of ROFR might be one great national policy, I should say, which is commonly done by all the states. Likewise, we need to have right to education policy, ROFR, or any other national law. Apart from having national laws, we must have certain state laws. So I was inquiring about this PESA, 1996, PESA got enacted, and I can say with confidence that we, the state of Andhra Pradesh, we came out with rules and we have been implementing PESA. There are only 2 departments, I was told, which need to adopt this PESA in our state of Andhra Pradesh. So I believe, certainly sir, I believe with active involvement, engaging the tribal communities in a different way, to own their, existence with help of the state development initiatives will certainly strengthen their financial status, and it will result in overall development of that particular society. When we are identifying the things at the individual family level, as a scholar, we have to analyze the impact of this, non-reach of this particular benefit onto the entire community. For example, the drinking water needs or internet connectivity. So all these things, when we are identifying at the one household level, that is missing of Aadhaar, that Amavadi scheme is getting excluded. Missing of Aadhaar, Raitu Bharosa is getting excluded. Like that, if we can identify one particular scheme and what is its impact, so ultimately how to correct that particular mistake. So I believe how to correct that lag. So in that way, if we scholars can suggest, because policy making and one way should get the real ground reality. Then only we can reorient, revisit our policy and strengthen our policy making. So I believe this particular workshop will certainly, especially scholars from across the country, will focus on different issues, because I highlighted only Andhra Pradesh initiatives. There are initiatives in Mizoram, there are initiatives in Jharkhand, there are initiatives in Odisha. So I believe all of us, if we can really coordinate and come out with our findings which have specific impact in those zones, and certainly I think it will be a major platform to facilitate all our findings to evolve at national level into a major tribal welfare policy. So with this thing, I wish all the participants a very useful outcomes from this seminar, and these outcomes of this seminar will certainly benefit the policymakers in a big way. Thank you very much.
For
giving valuable insights into the national policies to be implemented and way forward how to in fifth schedule areas and sixth schedule areas what Andhra Pradesh is leading and other states also the best practices we have to take into account and those to be emulated, adopted so that the uniform policies can be evolved for the development of the tribes. So thank you very much, sir, for giving a valuable presidential address on today national seminar on tribal policies and programs in India, regional reflections in the context of globalization. So now our Deputy Chief Minister and Minister for Tribal Welfare, Pamela Pushpa Srivani Madam is going to extend her valuable message.
Government of AP and President of the Diet, Sri Kantilal Dande, the guest of honor, Dr. Navajit Kapoor, Joint Secretary, MOTA, Government of India, Sri P. Ranjit Pasha, Director, Tribal Welfare, Government of AP, Professor B.J. Rao, Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, Sri E. Ravindra Babu, Additional Director, Mission Director, TCR&TM, academicians, administrators, NGOs, and research scholars, and all the invitees, participants of the national seminar. I'm indeed honored to be here on this auspicious day of World Adivasi Day and to inaugurate the two-day national seminar on tribal policies and programs in India. Regional reflections in the context of globalization, jointly organized by Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India and TCR&TM, Tribal Welfare Department of Government of AP. Today is an important day, the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. Every year this day is celebrated as International Day of the World's Indigenous People, as this was the date of the first meeting in 1982 of the United Nations Working Group of Indigenous Populations. The government of Andhra Pradesh has committed to organize these celebrations in a befitting manner and accordingly issued orders that every year as World Adivasi Day as a state festival to reaffirm its commitment to protect and promote the research repository of tribal heritage and culture native to the state of Andhra Pradesh and its commitment to the socio-economic development of the tribals. The observance is also to ensure ways and means to revitalize the identity of tribals of Andhra Pradesh and encourage protection of their rights. Andhra Pradesh is one of the states governed by the provisions of fifth schedule. After the reorganization of the state of Andhra Pradesh in 2014, we have intensified our efforts for tribal welfare. After bifurcation in the state of Andhra Pradesh, we have 34 tribal communities and areas notified under fifth schedule spread over 38 mandals in 5 districts. Under the able leadership of our beloved Chief Minister Sri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy, our state government has rededicated to the welfare and development of scheduled tribes in the state. Andhra Pradesh has the distinction of being the first state to bring out legislation for implementation of tribal subplan. The government of Andhra Pradesh, under the able guidance and the leadership of our beloved Chief Minister Sri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy, is committed towards strengthening its hands to formulate best policies and to implement them for the tribal development. The government is implementing Navaratnalu, a flagship program towards well-being of all on saturation mode with special focus on STs of the state on equity basis. 1,572.3 crores for the year 2020 to 21 and 1,202.76 crores for year 2021 to 22 was released to various sections of ST beneficiaries directly to their SB accounts through DBT mode during 2020 to 21 and 2021 to 22 so far. These case assistance programs facilitated the ST communities to serve better during the hard COVID-19 pandemic situation. The government is committed to look at the policy initiatives, best practices towards tribal welfare and their development. Apart from the above case assistance programs which are being implemented under Navatnam, the following major infrastructure developmental programs have also been taken up, first of its kind in tribal areas. Exclusive engineering college for STs at Kurpam with an estimated cost of 153.853 crores. Exclusive medical college for STs at Paderu sanctioned with 500 crores. Multi-specialty hospitals in each of ITDA headquarters with a total estimated cost of 246.30 crores. The government has taken up two prestigious projects as a joint venture with the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India. Tribal Freedom Fighters Museum at the Lambasingi village of Chintapalli Mandal at a total estimated cost of 35 crores, and this museum is scheduled for completion by March 2023. TCR&TM building at Visakhapatnam at a total estimated cost of 17.50 crores, and the first phase construction taken up with an estimated cost 10 crores was completed. The government of Andhra Pradesh is the first state which has established the TCR&TM for the first of its kind in the country as registered society-wide registered number 489/2016 and the Societies Registration Act 1964 with the nomenclature Tribal Culture Research and Training Mission and is functioning with its headquarters at Visakhapatnam. The Tribal Culture Research and Training Mission receives funds from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India and a central sector scheme under 100% grant in aid to focus on its core responsibilities as body of knowledge and research more or less as think tank for tribal development, preservation of tribal culture heritage, providing inputs to state for evidence-based planning and appropriate legislations, capacity building of tribals and persons, institutions associated with the tribal affairs, dissemination of information and creation of awareness. On this occasion, I take it an opportunity to thank the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India for supplementing the efforts of Government of Andhra Pradesh in strengthening the TCR&TM into a research-based center of excellence. I am glad that the Tribal Culture Research and Training Mission, in collaboration with the Center for Regional Studies, School of Social Sciences, University of Hyderabad, has jointly organized the National Seminar on the larger theme of tribal policies and programs in India, regional reflections in the context of globalization, with the funding supporting for Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India. This seminar is unique in this kind where the academicians and administrators are brought together. The idea of this national seminar is to create combined platform to disseminate the best practices, policy initiatives of implementation of various tribal programs while understanding the same from their state in India. It is pleasure to note that about 200 scholars from different social science disciplines were responded positively and submitted abstracts from full research papers from multi disciplines such as anthropology, ecology, history, public policy, social work and sociology and the following sub-themes. First one is opportunities and threats to the tribal areas in the context of globalization. Second one is livelihood opportunities. Third one is education, health and gender. Fourth one is impact of globalization on tribal culture and heritage. A total of 67 research papers authored by 85 eminent scholars have been published in 4 books with different thematic book title, edited by seminar coordinator Dr. V. Srinivasa, Associate Professor, Center for Regional Studies, University of Hyderabad, and published by Rawat Publication, an established international publisher with a reputation in academic publications are as follows. First one is Tribal Livelihood and Governance, Regional Concerns. Second one is Disadvantaged Tribes of India, Regional Concerns. Challenges of Tribal Development, Contemporary Social Concerns. Tribal Interrogation in India, Northeast and beyond. Each of these 4 books has a central theme for academic discussions. These chapters provide a critical insight to understand the major challenges of tribal issues in India. The research findings are very important from the policy formulation point of view. These volumes offer a fairly comprehensive account of wide range of issues. These chapters bring together various tribal issues in a multidisciplinary format spanning a range of disciplines such as anthropology, ecology, history, public policy, social work and sociology. Every paper has the contemporary values that is certainly helpful for policy formulation with reference to innumerable tribal problems in India. I am immensely happy to inaugurate this national seminar. I welcome all of you and wish that the discussions and deliberations would be fruitful and meaningful. I expect that the takeaways from this seminar would contribute in revisiting the policy, making research more focused and innovation widespread for the cause of the tribals, not only for Andhra Pradesh, for the entire country. Wishing you all the best. Pamal Pushpa Srivani, Deputy CM, Tribal Welfare, Government of Andhra Pradesh. Thank you.
Implementation of the tribal policies and programs for the development of the interior and hilltop villages of the Andhra Pradesh state. So finally we have come to the concluding session of the inaugural session. So I am thankful to especially the Secretary Sir, Director Sir and our department tribal welfare staff and mostly importantly the press who has covered widely this inaugural session. So now I request Deputy Director TCR&TM Lakshmi Madam to propose vote of thanks.
Department Andhra Pradesh and Center for Regional Studies, University of Hyderabad, take it a privilege to extend my sincere vote of thanks to the honorable dignitaries, delegates who took out valuable time from their busy schedule and graced this occasion with their presence. I take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Minister for Tribal Welfare, Andhra Pradesh, Srimati Pushpa Srivani Pamala, for delivering valuable message on this memorable occasion. I would like to place on record a heartfelt gratitude to Sri Navaljit Kapoor, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and the team of Ministry of Tribal Affairs for extending their guidance, support, contribution and for enhancing the pride of occasion with a gracious presence. I would also like to acknowledge our sincere gratitude Sri Kantilal Dande IAS, Secretary Tribal Welfare, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Chairperson, Tribal Cultural Research and Training Mission, and Ranjit Basha IAS, Director, Tribal Welfare, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Vice Chairperson, Tribal Cultural Research and Training Mission for gracing the occasion and extending this support to make the national seminar become a reality amidst the pandemic. I express My sincere thanks to Professor B.J. Rao, Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, for his esteemed presence on this occasion. I thank Professor Virginius Zaza, Visiting Professor, Institute for Human Development, New Delhi, for gracing the occasion and delivering the keynote speech of this national seminar. I thank Sri G.V.V.S.V. Prasad, Engineering in Chief, Tribal Welfare, and Dr. Palla Trinath Garu, gracing the occasion. I owe special thanks to Sri Isa Ravindra Babu, Additional Director, Tribal Welfare, and Mission Director, Tribal Cultural Research and Training Mission, for his valuable guidance and encouragement for ensuring the national seminar to be a grand and memorable event. I thank all the TRIs across the country for gracing the seminar. I also extend my thanks to the print and electronic media for evincing interest in covering the event. My thanks are due to all our distinguished invitees for the participation from various places across the country. Last but not the least, I express my heartfelt thanks to the team of Tribal Cultural Research and Training Mission and Center for Regional Studies, University of Hyderabad, for working hard to make this seminar become a reality. I thank everyone for being here and wish you all 2 days of thought-provoking and enlightening presentation ahead. Thank you all.
ఈ మూడు కలిసి ఒక నేషనల్ సెమినార్ 2 days నేషనల్ సెమినార్ ఆర్గనైజ్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఈ నేషనల్ సెమినార్ ట్రైబల్ పాలసీస్ అండ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా రీజనల్ రిఫ్లెక్షన్స్ ఇన్ ద కాంటెక్స్ట్ ఆఫ్ గ్లోబలైజేషన్ ఈ టాపిక్ మీద ఈ సెమినార్ జరుగుతుంది. దీన్ని హైదరాబాద్ సెంట్రల్ యూనివర్సిటీ ప్రొఫెసర్ అసోసియేట్ ప్రొఫెసర్ శ్రీనివాసరావు గారు కోఆర్డినేట్ చేస్తున్నారు. అలాగే వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ బీజే రావు గారి డైరెక్షన్లో మేము కోఆర్డినేట్ చేస్తున్నాం. దీనిలో దాదాపు 86 పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ వారి యొక్క రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్టికల్స్ని 66 రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్టికల్స్ని మాకు పంపించారు. దీని ద్వారా మేము ఈ రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్టికల్స్ని కంపైల్ చేసి ఒక 4 బుక్స్ని మనం పబ్లిష్ చేయడం జరిగింది. అంటే ఈ రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్టికల్స్ అన్నీ కూడా ఇప్పటి వరకు వివిధ ప్రభుత్వాలు అంటే వివిధ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు కానీ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా కానీ అమలు చేస్తున్నటువంటి ట్రైబల్ పాలసీస్ మీద, అలాగే వాటి ఇంపాక్ట్ మీద, అలాగే ఇంకా చేయవలసిన ఏరియాస్ని స్పెసిఫై చేస్తూ ఈ రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్టికల్స్ వచ్చాయి. సో ముఖ్యంగా ఇప్పటి వరకు కూడా మనకి మన ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ ఇనిషియేటివ్స్ అన్నీ కూడా ఈ ట్రైబల్ ఏరియాస్లో ఉన్న ఎడ్యుకేషన్, హెల్త్ మరియు లైవ్లీహుడ్స్ మీద ఫోకస్ చేస్తున్నాయి. అయితే ఇప్పుడు చాలామంది పార్టిసిపెంట్ చెప్పినట్టుగా ఇంకా డ్రింకింగ్ వాటర్, ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్, అలాగే ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్, తర్వాత కనెక్టివిటీ ఇష్యూస్ ఇలాంటివి కూడా మనం డెవలప్ చేయవలసిన అవసరం ఉందని చెప్పి చాలామంది అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. ఈ విధంగా ఈ నేషనల్ సెమినార్ దీనిలో చాలామంది వర్చువల్గా పార్టిసిపేట్ చేస్తున్నారు. మిజోరాం, ఒరిస్సా, జార్ఖండ్, రాజస్థాన్ వివిధ రాష్ట్రాల నుంచి వారి యొక్క రీసెర్చ్ పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ పార్టిసిపేట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. వారి కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్ రీసెర్చ్ కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్స్ షేర్ చేసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇవి వీటన్నిటిని కూడా కంపేర్ చేసి మినిస్టర్ ట్రావెల్ సో దీని ద్వారా సో ఇప్పటివరకు ఉన్న పాలసీ ప్రోగ్రామ్ యాక్చువల్గా దిస్ రైట్ నౌ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా మనం చెప్పినట్టుగా షెడ్యూల్, సిక్స్త్ షెడ్యూల్ ఇలాగా వేరియస్ ఏరియాస్ని మనం ఆల్రెడీ మనం పాలసీ పెట్టుకోవడం జరిగింది. సో ఇప్పుడు ప్రత్యేకంగా గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా లెవెల్లో మన రాష్ట్రం కూడా అమలు చేస్తుంది. సో ఈ విధంగానే మరి రైట్ టు ఎడ్యుకేషన్ యాక్ట్ అని ఇందాక వారు చెప్పినట్టుగా జనరల్ యాక్ట్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి, అలాగే ట్రైబల్ స్పెసిఫిక్ యాక్ట్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. సో ఈ విధంగా మనకి రేపటి రోజుల్లో ట్రైబల్ 86 articles across the country from various research scholars and we have compiled these research articles in 4 books and we have published them with the support of Government of India. So these research articles have highlighted the impact of various government policies and programs implemented for the welfare of welfare of tribals so far, and they have also highlighted the gaps in the reach of these developmental programs. So all these articles they are reflecting certain issues which need to be focused at the national level, and the urgency or necessity of having a unanimous policy, a uniform policy on tribal development. So, various eminent speakers, eminent research scholars are participating in this national seminar. We look for their observations and research findings, which will be forwarded to which will be considered by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs in formulating their policies.
Sir, some people of tribal villages are requesting to see the Schedule 5 villages not to be given for real estate people.
I believe right now, as we said, as we have been discussing, these Schedule 5 villages, they have certain restrictions, and we also have this PISA in our state of Andhra Pradesh. I believe any encroachment in these tribal areas which is illegal will not be allowed. So ultimately, the rights of these tribal people will be protected by all means by the government of Andhra Pradesh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
To stand and to stand in attention. Okay? So on announcement, మనం అందరం కూడా జనగణమన పాడాల్సి వస్తుంది. మేడం మిమ్మల్ని పైకి రండి. So there is a requirement to be fulfilled. So I believe it is an honor for you and me to sing our national song. So we'll start.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्तर वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद.
So the landowners of the Devagonzi village restricted not to enter into their lands by private individuals. The similar situation is also faced by the four chapters belong to Mamidpatti Initiative village. Few households in Devagonzi Initiative village have received land compensation. The similar problem 41 of 7 of the Land Acquisition Act, the affected families of the scheduled tribes have to be restricted, preferably in the same scheduled area in a compact fact, so that they can retain their ethnic, linguistic, and cultural identity. It is suggested that the government should follow the act for open implementation of articles and not to limit the other affected villages in this project area. The government should provide the mandatory implementation of these affected in this regard, household-based residential training should be provided to the youth and women in the village, while awarding the concept of land for land policy should be followed to the maximum extent. In this regard, the constitution of 2.5 acres of land should be raised in case of easy people, and it should be provided equal of at least 2.5 acres of land within the command area of the former irrigation project. In case of landless displaced families of ST household should provide at least 1 acre irrigated land in the project command area in supporting livelihood. It is noticed that compensation of cost of irrigation no further action has been initiated. There should be a model agency or monitoring body to look after displaced people's activities in 5 years. It is also
వాయిస్ వచ్చేది ఆటోమేటిక్గా
project discussion families for local intelligence of the organization. There is a need of orientation regarding answer to stakeholders, answer implementation of officials and staff of government, because many of the implementation people do not aware of policy or activity. The government would initiate more awareness among the population to know about their rights and thank you. maintain transparency and culminates in accountability. In social audit, the people and the government jointly monitor the program or scheme. It is equally important that for whom the programs are implemented are made aware of their rights and identified and participate in the program design, decision making process, monitoring and evaluation of the program. In this context, the current research paper is trying to explore issues and concerns of tribal community and also discuss the importance of society in implementation of schemes and programs in the tribal area. In this context, my objectives are to understand issues and challenges in implementation of schemes and programs in tribal area, to discuss the social audit and its importance for the tribal communities. Broad outlook of society, building awareness, capacity building, and to building capacities of organization of the promoting and implementing conservation accountability, planning, grievance redressal, and community monitoring. Importance of social audit is to improve transparency, accountability, and people's participation. To ensure correctness in implementation of the program, process consciousness, monitor and analytical practices, establish informative systems, and evaluating performance. Social audit and MGN research and community analysis and other schemes. The Society for Social Audit, Accountability and Transparency is currently facilitating the social audit and MG analysis under Section 17 as a mandatory program in implementing the state. The SAT AP was registered as an independent body under the Society Registration Act 2009. In addition to the MG analysis, the SAT is conducting other government programs like the NRCS, Rural Water Supply, Social Security Pension, Jagrana General and Voice and Communication, Manbadi, Nadu Navy, Jagrana Gurmata, Social Audit and Implementing Doorstep Delivery, etc. The methodology of social audit is social audit process in the community is firstly we identify weaknesses in the community and we try them or various schemes and the society is resources to verify the records of the record organization and conduct the coordination meeting with the library function implementation and verify which stages of verify. One is record verification and another one is document verification will be directed to the beneficiary and explain about utilization of the scheme. And the third one is work presentation, followed by Gram Sabha. We conduct Gram Sabha and we present what society requirements of the scheme, and we conduct public hearings at mandal level or block level for decision taking and designation of the social audit findings. Social audit findings is the findings on engineering scheme in the tribal areas. We identified benami must have long entries and long qualifications, focus work, task changes, missionary work. Actually, engineering is information acts, should not use missionary work. We have to engage but here we identify missionary work and we also identified measurement deviations and lack of monitoring of the implementation of the agency participation. I am going to present another scheme which is Jagannath Gorumuta MDM scheme. Jagannath Gorumuta MDM scheme is implemented by the government to provide dry ration to students in Andhra pandemic time. Dry ration in rice, eggs, 140% is the 6,955 students and their parents at the doorstep. Distribution of graduation around 94,500 cases distributed to the students and no deviation found in the graduation. Whereas actually they distributed 4,52,000 pens to the students and the deviation was 0.80% identified as a deviation. For cities, 1,71,000 cities distributed to the students, we identified 0.79% deviation we identified. With regard to satisfaction level, all the parents of the students expressed 75% they are satisfied towards the general government scheme. And with regard to quality of graduation, more than 80% of parents they felt very happy towards the quality of graduation. Impact of society awareness increase among tribal communities in respect to participation in implementing of this scheme, created more awareness among the community on engineering, agility, analysis and other social welfare schemes. Community involved in implementation of engineering has been increased and started questioning utilizing their rights and entitlements. With regard to RBI, people proceeding through RBI, public participation in Gram Sabha has been increased. Increase the public accountability in implementation of the scheme, address the irregularities of bill percentage, grievance are being addressed, bridging the gap implementation of the scheme by regulating the society findings. We are happy to say that the shift of the society institute, the Andhra Pradesh state stands at the first place among 46 states in the country in transparency and accountability in implementation of GLM. Therefore, to enhance the public accountability in implementation of the scheme, problems of the అంటే
అందుకే మనోడు ఉంటాడు తర్వాత ముందు దానికి డౌట్ ఏముంది
These are statistical system. My presentation is over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nagaraju, for also sticking very much within the time limit and also introducing the concept of social audit, which is now a part of development schemes across the country. Okay, we will talk now to the third definitions of scheduled tribes, a social, economic, perspective. Okay.
So good afternoon, ma'am. My topic is on social economy. Actually, I am presently working on. Hello, am I audible to everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Hello. For example, in Napoleon War of France, around 1.4 million lives and over the billion worth property were disturbed. War is so expensive; it requires a lot of workforce resources and military expenses and maintenance of the armed forces. Also, thousands of people were withdrawn from their productive spaces, such as industries, and engaged in the war. Above statistics and shape clearly explains the damage caused due to the war, which resulted in disturbance in the peace and humanity. Wasting a huge amount of financial assets and human power in the war will end up with a large amount of loss to humanity and their livelihood. Spending the same resources on education and human development will definitely raise the standards of livelihood and prevent the high level harmony and peace in the economy. This is what exactly the social economy, the concept of social economy was explained in the theory of humanity. When it comes to the capitalism, the concept of social economy is focused. the concept of socialism was discussed under working class and capitalist class. It focused on because in any capitalism, whatever the concept of capitalism can be observed that which focuses only on the profit maximization but not on the welfare of the working class. In any capitalist organization, production process focuses only on the profit, not on the social relations. But establishing strong social relations result in meaningful actions in the production process and capital production process, which which can also contribute more to the organization in the areas of profit and social relations. When the concept of social economy coming to the justice, the social economy, both justice and the social economy are interrelated terms having the same justification. Economics and social institutions have altered with the human characteristics. Social institution is an integrated concept of society and includes hierarchical institutions which are enabled through the family structure. It is a fundamental theory of social order that originates the social union discussed about social economics. Here, the theory of justice will be understood in the next level of social choice. One of the highest level of ideas in the history of social and political theory, veil of ignorance, people chose a basic principle. Ignorance allows the individual to realize that they are different from others in their choices, tastes, interests, abilities, desires, and their goals towards the basic principle of primary will, like liberty, power, and envy. These are the choice of self rather than the choice of good based on the human nature. The concept of justice is an aspiring ethical theory. Self-actualization derived from the basic Greek and talks about the dignity of man. The highest level of good in man comes from the birth. To be true, the real to himself in relation to his own. The diamond is a qualitatively unique perfection. Every person chooses his life as he wants. Discovering of the ideal uniqueness is an enhanced value. It is a self-love that originates as a motivational, moral, and ethical value. According to the social economics, self-love is the moral element. Recognition of unique excellence is a self-realization point of a person. The psychological stabilization comes from his maturity and unique skills. The awareness because of self-love generates knowledge, respect towards others, helping in achieving the certain goals which were already prescribed. Such system is definitely lead to social justice. It's a fundamental principle of every person. The goal of social development will happen only with the help of ideal community of complementary perfected cooperation. Because every person should think in good way that and respect each and every individual in the society at a highest manner. So this concept of social economy will definitely build good standards in the economy. So whenever where in the present economy the tribes are segregated in the name of class, caste, and or some other discriminatory factors in the name of income, in the name of their economic status, in the name of their livelihood patterns, in the name of their culture. So you basically know the tribes have very unique cultures. They have their own languages. They have their own livelihood opportunities. So from the last several decades, tribes are depending on the forestry based products. But now in the recent times, we are witnessing majority of the scheduled tribe communities are getting integrated with the mainstream economy, and they are involved in various kinds of livelihood activities such as agriculture and allied activities, and they are purchasing different agricultural land, and they are involved in their livelihood practice. So in this view, the present concept of social economy is joining the present concept of social economy is based on the concept of scheduled tribes. How scheduled tribes should integrate with the mainstream economy. We can see that from the past 50 years, the shift of tribal societies from homogeneous to considerably heterogeneous societies due to various cultural and traditional transformation to the other religions created occupational differentiation in the tribal society. For example, the same society of people transformed from shifting agricultural practices to settled agriculture. Some are working.
The three presentations are open for discussion. If there are any questions, please raise your
అంటే నీకు డైలీ పేమెంటా డే పేమెంటా లేకపోతే మా ప్రోగ్రామ్ మొత్తం నీకు కెమెరా
Okay, till you, the rest of you think